All right, following that incredible extinction event 250 million years ago, which we discussed in the last video, the Permian extinction, we have the next geologic era. And so this was punctuated by this mass extinction event that we went from one geologic era to the next. And of that 0.1% of life that survived, part of that, of course, led directly to us, and another important part became the dinosaurs. And so this is sometimes called the age of the dinosaurs. They dominated during the Mesozoic era until about 64 million years ago. They became the largest land creatures to ever walk on the planet, and they forced the mammals into a very subservient position in which they had to downsize in order to survive, become nocturnal, and live underground for the most part. And so the mammals were just little rodent-like creatures in those days, and the world was dominated by these huge dinosaurs. But that era was boosted by the fact that there was more CO2 in the atmosphere in those days. And because of this, the plants were able to get a booster shot in how much growth they were able to maintain, because during photosynthesis, plants take in carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. And so this was good for the plants, and that was also good for the dinosaurs, because there were huge forests that were the result of this. And that supported the dinosaurs. Okay, now why was there more CO2 in the atmosphere in those days? Because the sun was cooler. And the sun has been heating up about 10% every billion years. And as we learned before, a cooler sun does not require as much of the thermostat mechanism to kick in. And so in other words, you can have more CO2 in the atmosphere because there's less heating from the sun. And so that carbon dioxide then can trap the heat and make it possible for the Earth's surface temperature to maintain itself. But as time went on, as the sun continued to heat up, the carbon dioxide levels dropped. And so near the end of the age of the dinosaurs, the CO2 levels were lower. And with less CO2, we had less forests, and the dinosaurs started to struggle. So the dinosaurs were already weakened by the fact that there were less forests. And what finally finished them off was a giant asteroid collision 64 million years ago. It might have been a comet, something like that. This wiped out the dinosaurs. And something like 70% of all life on the planet. So this was like the Permian extinction, but a little, in terms of its intensity, but not quite as severe. And it basically, any creature that was bigger than a dog, we think, died during this collision that took place with maybe something like a 5-mile diameter asteroid hitting the Earth's surface near the Yucatan Peninsula. This finished off the dinosaurs. So from this point on, we have the Cenozoic era. And that's the age of the mammals. So these little mammals were able to survive. So small rodent-like creatures started to grow. And this then leads us to the present day. So this is 64 million years ago, essentially to the present. And so this then, it was due to the fact that we had a warming sun, but CO2 levels that continued to drop over this period of time. And so I'm going to spend more time talking about the more recent history of the climate later when we talk about global climate change. And so what I've done for you here is outline the history of the Earth's atmosphere up until about 64 million years ago. And then I'll go into much more detail with this later when we get to the recent history of the atmosphere and the possible future state of the atmosphere that is associated with global climate change.